Okay. So this topic, to what extent does the infrastructure of opportunity and Anawati preference immorality? Um, this topic really strikes at one of the core questions that Catherine Boo has for the text. How does someone who is in a devastatingly poor situation rise themselves out of that situation? All right. We need to think about, first of all, what is the infrastructure of opportunity um, that exists in Anawati? All right. The first of all, I think we shouldn't ignore, or we possibly might choose not to ignore, the traditional caste system. Now, that's obviously how it is for for Hindus, but there's also um, the Muslim tradition as well. And what kind of combines them, as ironic as that is, considering how these two, sections of Anawati society, might disagree and have problems. Um, that they're both very confining. There's not a lot of infrastructure of opportunity here, is there? If you're born a Dalit, or if you're born a woman, there's really no opportunity for you to, to become successful and move yourself out of your, uh, you know, um, terrible environment. Okay. So what's the more modern system? The capitalist system, right? Well, the capitalist system, we have three ways that were given to us, weren't they? An entrepreneurial niche, yeah, um, corruption, and education, right? Um, these are seen to be the capitalist three ways of moving away um, out of um, poverty, right? So, uh, what would Boo say, right? Well, if we wanted to disagree with this topic, we would say the question is, what extent does this infrastructure, these two infrastructures, right, preference and morality? Well, um, I think what an easy response would be is to say that corruption is the only way out of poverty. All right. And you would go through and you would show that this isn't going to work. Right. You're obviously not going to escape um, um, the traditional caste system, and an economic niche, entrepreneurial niche is not going to work, right? Um, because you know uh, at any point it can all be taken from you, like it was with the the Hussein family. Education won't work because education is two bit games in a hut, right? So you might kind of move your way through and say corruption works because in some way Asha did escape Anawati, or at least she was more successful in escaping Anawati through corruption than any of these other options, right? So that would be one way forward. The other way forward would be to kind of say, even corruption doesn't really work, right? Um, and it would be to say that, uh, well, um, corruption is the abuse of power, and in Anawati, you can only be corrupt while those more powerful than you will allow you to be. Let me see if I can be more clear. So, if you need a certain amount of power to be corrupt, right? You need this power to be corrupt. Oops. Okay. Um, well, you have to get that power from somewhere. So you might need to get that power from the powerful. The powerful would give you that power, right? And then you can use that power to be corrupt and get what you need, right? All right. Use that to be corrupt and get what you need. But you also need to make sure that in that corruption, you're also serving the powerful. All right. So what's an example of that? Well, Asha has the ability to call the slumlords, Richard Perez or whoever else, to come help the Anawarians with various tasks. Um, and he will allow her to do that as long as she uses part of that power to do things like organize rallies, to get them to vote in particular ways, to do whatever else. But the moment that she isn't able to serve him, she will be cut off, right? And she was any number of times, right? So what ended up being successful? How did she eventually manage to, move away out of poverty? Well, remember what she said? She said it was luck and believing what you were doing was not really that bad. So, to what extent does the infrastructure of opportunity and Anawari preference immorality? You could say something like, maybe Catherine Boo would say, it does preference Anawari. It does preference immorality. But even that is not a golden ticket. That's not going to, be guaranteed. You're still very much at the uh, at the auspices of the powerful. Okay, so easy answer: corruption good, everything else useless. Maybe a more sophisticated answer: corruption good, but still very much dependent on the powerful going along with it. Okay. All right. Good luck. Write me an essay, and I'll see you in class.